The first century Christian congregation was founded by Jesus Christ, who said, "If you remain in my word, you are really my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." John chapter 8, verses 31 and 32. Jesus loves his true disciples and wants them to be free from the many false stories and lies that the world of mankind is full of. Truth was important to Jesus, and he knew that truth is important for his disciples too. And so the first century Christian congregation was set up on truth. Jesus warned us about the many liars in the world. In John chapter 8, verse 44, he said to the religious leaders in Israel, "You are from your father the devil, and you wish to do the desires of your father. That one was a manslayer when he began, and he did not stand fast in the truth, because truth is not in him. When he speaks the lie, he speaks according to his own disposition, because he is a liar and the father of the lie." Jesus cares about all his disciples, including young children, and he gave this warning to religious leaders in Matthew chapter 18, verses 4 to 6. "Whoever will humble himself like this young child is the one that is the greatest in the kingdom of the heavens. And whoever receives one such young child on the basis of my name receives me also. But whoever stumbles one of these little ones who puts faith in me, it is more beneficial for him to have hung around his neck a millstone such as is turned by an ass, and to be sunk in the wide open sea." Just like the religious leaders in Jesus' day, religious people in modern times have deceived and lied to young children and encouraged participation in false religious celebrations. Christmas is filled with false stories and lies. They teach young children that a holy man, Santa Claus, or Father Christmas, comes down their chimney and leaves gifts at the bottom of a tree. The Christmas tree comes from the pagan ritual of bowing down to a tree as if it is a god and presenting sacrifices to the tree, which is what the gifts represent. This is what the true God said about this many centuries ago in Jeremiah chapter 2. "Upon every high hill and every luxuriant tree you were lying sprawled out, prostituting yourself. They are saying to a tree, 'You are my father,' and to a stone, 'You yourself brought me to birth.' But to me they have turned the back of the neck and not the face. And in the time of their calamity they will say, 'Do rise and save us.'" And in chapter 3 he says, "Have you seen what unfaithful Israel has done? She is going upon every high mountain and underneath every luxuriant tree, that she may commit prostitution there. Take note of your error, for it is against Jehovah your God that you have transgressed, and you continued scattering your ways to the strangers under every luxuriant tree. But to my voice you people did not listen." In chapter 10, Jehovah says, "The customs of the peoples are just an exhalation, because it is a mere tree out of the forest that one has cut down, the work of the hands of the craftsman with the billhook. With silver and with gold one makes it pretty. They are like a scarecrow of a cucumber field, and cannot speak. Without fail they are carried, for they cannot take any steps. A tree is a mere exhortation of vanities. In chapter 17 he says, "The sin of Judah is written down with an iron stylus. With a diamond point it is engraved on the tablet of their heart, and on the horns of their altars. When their sons remember their altars and their sacred poles beside a luxuriant tree, upon the high hills, on the mountains in the field." And in Ezekiel chapter 6 he says, "You people will have to know that I am Jehovah, when their slain ones come to be in the midst of their dungy idols, all around their altars, upon every high hill, on all the tops of the mountains, and under every luxuriant tree, and under every branchy big tree, the place where they have offered incense to all their dungy idols. And I will stretch out my hand against them, and make the land a desolate waste, even a desolation worse than the wilderness. And they will have to know that I am Jehovah." It was an ancient pagan religious ritual to involve a tree in the worship of a false god, and Jehovah made it clear that it offended him. Today, on top of the Christmas tree, they place the star that tried to direct King Herod to the baby Jesus in order to kill him before he could grow up. The selection of the 25th of December was made by those apostate Christians who wanted to mix the Roman worship of the sun with those other false rituals. These false religious rituals that are offensive to the true God Jehovah were created by and are now promoted by religious people who claim to be Christ's disciples. With the help of greedy commercial leaders, they have spread these offensive religious beliefs around the world. Jesus and Jehovah are taking note of all the good people that are being stumbled in their faith by those religious people. It is more beneficial for those stumbling and lying to even young children to have hung around their neck a millstone such as is turned by an ass, and to be sunk in the wide open sea. What will happen to all those who ignore this warning and continue to participate in Christmas? Revelation chapter 18 describes what will happen to Babylon the Great, the empire of false religion. I heard another voice out of heaven say, "Get out of her, my people, if you do not want to share with her in her sins, and if you do not want to receive part of her plagues. For her sins have massed together clear up to heaven, and God has called her acts of injustice to mind. Render to her even as she herself rendered, and do to her twice as much, yes, twice the number of the things she did. In the cup in which she put a mixture, put twice as much of the mixture for her, to the extent that she glorified herself and lived in shameless luxury. To that extent, give her torment and mourning. For in her heart she keeps saying, I sit a queen, and I am no widow. I shall never see mourning. That is why in one day her plagues will come, death and mourning and famine, and she will be completely burned with fire, because Jehovah God who judged her is strong. And a strong angel lifted up a stone like a great millstone and hurled it into the sea, saying, Thus with a swift pitch will Babylon the great city be hurled down, and she will never be found again. Everyone who prefers to hold on to the lies of Christmas will experience the fulfillment of Revelation chapter 21 verse 8. Those practicing spiritism and idolaters and all the liars, their portion will be in the lake that burns with fire and sulfur. Those who want to make our Creator and Life-giver Jehovah happy and reject Christmas and all false religious lies can look forward to the promise of verse 3 and 4 of that same chapter. The tent of God is with mankind, and he will reside with them, and they will be his people. God himself will be with them as their God, and he will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death will be no more. Neither will grief, nor outcry, nor pain be any more, because the former things are gone.